Everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Tuesday. It's June 11th. It is 2024. We have a 12-game baseball slate to talk about here on today's podcast. Joined today by my good buddy, Keith Eister, Eys819. Keith, what's happening, my friend?
Not too much. Went for the paddock fade here on Monday night and did not work out against the awful Colorado Rockies offense. Was super surprised I got Arrighetti and Fetty. That rhymes. Both under 20% owned, but they've got some work to do to catch up to Paddock. I think he put up like 26.5 DraftKings points or something like that. So good for him. Didn't quite trust him to do quite that well, but he did. So we're uphill battle for us on Monday night, but if it doesn't work out, we'll get it back on Tuesday for sure.
Yeah, I ended up playing Paddock, but I stacked Milwaukee without Adames. I was just telling Keith that we were at volleyball practice and I had to switch off of Diaz. So I took Adames out of my stack. It happens, right? So
You love that, don't you?
Yeah, I love that. Like my main team there. So, it happens. We move on and we go to a huge Tuesday slate and we get right back on it. You're going to be taking this chair over for the next few days. So this is the last podcast I'll be on this week. And I appreciate you for stepping in and doing that. You guys have some fun. I think you have like TJ and Tim and Will or something. So it should be a fun week as far as shows. But
good.
Before I get out of here, we have 12 games. We got a lot to talk about. And let's just jump in. A lot, again, so much. So like these big slates are very interesting, like DFS baseball wise, like because at the end of the day, like you don't even necessarily have to worry about ownership anymore on a slate like this because it's just going to be so spread out. There's so many options. We start though, Philadelphia at Boston, 8 total in this game. Wheeler and Crawford, and Wheeler and the Phillies are a 164 favorites. Any interest here in Zach Wheeler?
Yeah, I think you have to. There's going to be plenty of cheap bats. June is like prime, like prospect call up month. So there's going to be plenty of cheap hitting to get up to Wheeler on such a cheap slate. He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. Strikeout rate up around 28.5% this season. Has like the longest leash in baseball. So don't love the park here. His home park is a tough hitter's park anyway. Boston strikes out plenty. So I think Wheeler can definitely pay off this price, even though it's the highest on the slate.
Yeah, and like the other thing, it's a 12-game slate, so you have to chase some ceiling, and his pitch count, like his leash is just massive. So
Yeah.
like he has the ceiling to go like 30 plus fantasy points because of this massive leash. Like last time out against the Brewers, they let him throw 114. I mean, he came out and he was throwing in that 7th inning, and I was like, man, they're gonna pull him, and he just kept going, and I was like, okay. So a guy that like consistently gets 100 plus pitches every start is Zach Wheeler. So like the leash is massive. There's some strikeout upside against the Red Sox. Yeah, I mean, looking at the slate, I think it's gonna be like, do we eventually like play Wheeler and Skeens? Like, I mean, that's potentially what everybody's looking at today. Like, I think Woo is somebody else because he's so cheap. So like, I like Wheeler. I just don't know if we need him. Like, that's just where I'm at. Like, I just don't know at the end of the day, like, if I'm going to need to play like 40% Zach Wheeler today, because again, like, it seems like pitching pricing is very soft to start the week. And I mean, like you said, we're going to have some cheap bats. Other side of this game, we got Cutter Crawford. Started the season fantastic, and the last like month and a half, he's just really struggled. And it's like, it's everything, right? It's command. It's the strikeouts have dipped. He's giving up more fly balls. I can't pinpoint where the issue is. And I've looked into Crawford multiple times. I've watched him pitch multiple times. It's really tough to like pinpoint where the issue is coming from with him. So like whenever I see this kind of stuff, I'm like very hesitant to play somebody that I can't find the data to back up why he's struggling. Because I mean, like his advanced stuff doesn't even look terrible. So I'm concerned that there's something going on with Crawford and he's just not generating the stuff he was earlier this season.
Yeah, it's a tough spot against a good Philly offense too. So I am out on Carter Crawford as well. I'll let him prove it to me a couple of times before I jump back on. Like you mentioned, he started out really well this season. Thought he was kind of taking a step forward this year, but has fallen back quite a bit. Just too tough of a spot here against Philly.
Yeah, the offense matchup doesn't help either. I mean, Crawford's done a great job still limiting power this season. And I mean, do we play Philadelphia in this spot? I feel like my gut's telling me I should have some Philly exposure today.
Yeah, I like the spot well enough for him. The problem they're priced up, and Crawford is capable of shutting him down. I think. Like you like in Fenway Park, it's a nice, great. It's one of the best hitters parks as well. Not that Philly comes from a bad hitters park, but they're just really expensive. And I still have some respect for Crawford. The full stack is just really tough to get. So like, I'll play some Harper and some Schwarber for sure. But like Bryson Stott at 5K, that's tough to swallow. Bohm is up at 5,700. He's been really good this year, but it's hard to justify this full stack at these prices.
All right, Boston bats. I mean, with O'Neill and Devers both banged up right now, like this could be a very watered down Red Sox lineup, and like we would like Wheeler even more in that scenario if those two guys end up sitting. If those two guys are out, it takes out like the two guys that we're very interested in. Duren's having a good year, but like 5,200 on DK for this guy, like he's just not he's not a big power guy. Like he can steal you bases, but like now the price is like caught up to the production.
Yeah, I have no interest in picking on Wheeler on a 12-game slate.
Yeah, I mean, like if it was like a soft toss and righty out there, I think you could play Duren at 5,200 because of his stolen base upside, but not against Wheeler. Cleveland at Cincinnati is where we go next. No total or line out for this game yet because it's going to be a bullpen opener situation for Cincy. Like we know McKenzie's pitching here for Cleveland. And then sounds like Sutter's going to start and Nick Martinez is going to be the long relief guy, which I don't even know what to really expect from Nick Martinez as far as long relief because he's only thrown 22, 18, and 11 pitches the last 3 times out. I assume that like he's not throwing more than like 70 pitches here. Any interest here in McKenzie?
I do have some interest in McKenzie. I will preface this by saying this is a really tough spot if he's not on because he's a massive fly ball pitcher in the best home run park in baseball in Cincinnati. Things could go south in a real hurry here for him. But if you look at the way his season has gone, his strikeouts are way up here recently. He started off the season with like no strikeout ability. At one point, his walks, he had walked more hitters than he had struck out. Over his last like 7, 8 starts, though, he's been much better. The strikeouts, he's had 7 strikeouts against Kansas City, a really tough matchup, 9 strikeouts in Coors. So he's in pretty good form here. He's only 7,500. It's not without risk. Like he could certainly give up 2 or 3 home runs in this spot, and it would not surprise me at all. But I think the strikeout upside is there. Cincinnati K's quite a bit, so I'll probably be chasing the upside here. I will have some Cincinnati stacks or at least power one-offs as well. But I don't mind chasing upside here with McKenzie.
Yeah, so I mean, overall, I feel like this is one of those spots where you could potentially roll the dice and play a little bit, but you definitely want to play some bats too. It's one of those like high leverage spots or hedge spots that we talk about all the time in baseball. We're not touching this like Cincinnati situation, right?
No, definitely not.
All right, let's talk bats here. I mean, if Nick Martinez is the long reliever, this is just one of those spots where Jose Ramirez might be worth the price of admission today. I mean, just really any of these guys up towards the top of the order. Huge ballpark bump going into Cincinnati. One of the best home run ballparks in baseball. And yeah, I mean, Nick Martinez and Brent Sutter, like, yeah, load up on some Cleveland bats today.
Yeah, I think you have to. Like Ramirez is one of the best plays on the slate. That switch hitting is really nice in these opener situations because he holds a platoon advantage. If David Fry is in there, I'm going to keep paying prices for him. Dude just keeps hitting. Like he has been absolutely insane. Naylor has been fine lefty. So even though his first at bat probably comes against a lefty here, I still am fine paying up for him. Tyler Freeman looks really good as well, especially if he's back up there in the top of the order. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do with the lineup with a lefty opener and presumably a righty long reliever behind them. But I think that I'm not concerned about pinch hit risk with Cleveland is what I'm trying to get at here. So whoever's in there, I'm interested in.
Yeah, I mean, David Fry's been great against lefties and righties. So, like, him
Yeah.
and Ramirez just up towards the top of the list today for sure. You mentioned having some interest in McKenzie. When he does struggle, it's power and fly balls. So if he's off his game today, the Reds are one of the top stacks on the slate for me. I absolutely love this spot for Cincinnati. Somewhat like expensive towards the top end, but like still very playable. I feel like Candelario, who started the season like really slow, has been a lot better over the last month. I think this Reds team has just a massive ceiling just any night that they take the field. And if McKenzie's not pitching well, he's walking people. Like, you don't want to walk the Reds; they'll run on you.
Yeah.
I think this is a spot I'm going to load up on the Reds bats.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I have a little bit of interest in McKenzie, but I'm more interested in the bats here. I mentioned the fly balls of McKenzie. The walks have been an issue as well. So extremely high upside spot for Cincinnati. Stack them up, use them as power bats, power one-offs, mini stacks, all of the above. I'm very interested here.
Moving on, we got Miami and New York facing the Mets. Luzardo against McGill in this one, 7.5 total. The Mets a 130 favorites. Let's talk Luzardo first. Had been pitching really well and then just got absolutely hammered by the Rays last time out. I remember because I had taken some props for him and it didn't work out. They're one of the worst teams in baseball against lefties, and he just got absolutely smashed. 8,100, good ballpark. Any interest in Luzardo here?
Yeah, I was on some props from him his last time out too, because we saw two starts in a row where the pitch count was climbing. Looked like they were going to let him go, let him be free, and he was pitching really well. And he just ran into Tampa, who like they had some massive K rates in there, and I think his K prop was 5.5 or 6.5. Was definitely on the over there, but he just got absolutely blown up. It happens. It's baseball. Right back to the well here, though. Great Pitchers Park in New York, Citi Field. I think we're getting a bit of a discount here, assuming he doesn't get blown up. I think we're going to see him in that mid 90s range on the pitch count again. We know he has strikeout ability. It's not a great strikeout matchup against the Mets, but I mean, this guy has awesome stuff. He's electric when he's on. He looked to be on leading into that last start, so I'll chalk that one up as give him a mulligan on that one. Go right back to the well here.
Yeah, good ballpark. And I want to see him pitch better than last time out for sure. Like the price tag for the ceiling that he presents on a slate like this. And Taylor McGill on the other side of this game, he's one of my favorite plays on this slate. I mean, Miami is not a good offense whatsoever. He's cheap because like he's like right on the borderline of like putting together like excellent starts and like seems to just like have that one inning. I love this spot for him today. I think the Vegas line with the Mets being the favorite in this game is right. I think McGill is a guy that can beat this Marlins lineup.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. His strikeouts are up this season. The walks have been kind of the issue here. The good news is the Marlins don't walk.
Lowest walkout.
Yeah, yep, lowest walk rate in baseball. So maybe this is a spot that he can kind of get those walks under control, allow him to extend his outing a little bit. They don't strike out a ton either, but if he can go 6 or 7 innings in this one, he's way too cheap at 7,300.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a price point thing for me. Just 7,300 again. Like, even though we'll have some cheap bats in there, like it's just pitching seems to be underpriced today. Any interest in the Marlins bats here?
I really don't. Just tough ballpark, 12-game slate. I can be a little bit picky with my bats. No thanks.
Yeah, I mean, Jazz one-off is fine because of his power stolen base upside, but no interest outside of him. Like, he's a guy, like, he doesn't kill you if he walks because he can steal. I will say, like, De La Cruz has been the other guy that has been, like, a bright spot for this team, but I just don't think this is the right spot. And honestly, I'm not very interested in the Mets outside of just saying, hey, maybe Luzardo is not right again and stacking them, but I hate stacking in this ballpark. Vientos and like Alonso would be the two guys I'd be looking at for the Mets today.
Yeah, I mean Alonso against a lefty is a play anytime that situation occurs, no matter who the lefty is. But I'm not stacking Mets here. I like maybe Luzardo's broken. I'm just going to miss it on this slate. I like Vientos, the Vientos call as well for a cheap homer if you're looking that route.
It's been really good since they called him up and like got him everyday playing time. So definitely somebody we'll be talking about a lot. All right, Colorado at Minnesota is where we go next. No total for this game. Right now, Quantrill is listed for Colorado. It sounds like everything I've read is like Louis Varland's going to get called back up here for Minnesota and make the start here. But let's talk Quantrill first. Any interest in Quantrill here at 7K?
Man, he's been solid, to be honest.
Yeah.
And like I just didn't think he had this in him. He got beat up a little bit in that Dodgers start, but it's the Dodgers. 4 walks was a little bit of an outlier against the Cardinals last time out. His 5 starts before that were all incredible. So I don't think I need Quantrill on this slate, but he has been pitching really well. And I don't quite know what to make of it because I've never been a Quantrill fan in the past. Most of us have not been, especially for DFS. His strikeouts has just been so low. But for whatever reason, that month of May, his strikeout rate was up to like 27%. So I have my eye on him, just interested to see how he continues to fare this season. I don't think I'm playing him against a Minnesota offense that's much healthier now. Like Royce Lewis is back, Buxton's in the lineup. They got a couple other guys back, so not as many strikeouts in this Minnesota lineup as there used to be.
It's a really solid team overall. They're very patient. They walk. They don't strike out a ton. It's a really tough matchup for any right-handed pitcher right now. Like you said, they're getting healthier. Lewis being back in that lineup's a huge upgrade. He's just a really good, solid hitter. So I agree with you as far as like Cal Quantrill pitching well recently. I just don't think this is the right spot for me. Varland gonna get the call up, get back into the majors here. We love pitchers against Colorado. I mean, decent strikeout stuff, but overall just awful. I mean, that's what my notes are for him. Like he could strike out some people, especially lefties, but like on the season he has a 284 ISO and a 460 WOBA with a 62% hard hit rate.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with Louis Varland. Like the Rockies offense is awful. I actually played a little bit of him on Monday because I was fading Paddock. I was like, yeah, I'll use a couple Rockies 3-mans. Even
Mistakes were made.
Yeah, mistakes were made on Monday night. I don't think that means I want to play Louis Varland on this slate. Like he just gives up so much hard contact. I think I'll pass.
Yeah, I mean, if Varland was like 4K getting the Rockies, like that, like bump up AAA, DraftKings wasn't paying attention price, and he's been atrociously bad. And it's not like he was great last year either. Like 288 plate appearances last year. He had a 237 ISO, 340 WOBA, and still 50% hard hits. Gives up a lot of barrels. The strikeout stuff just hasn't been as good this year as it was last year either. I don't know if I want to play Rockies because I want to play a little bit of McMahon and Tovar because they've been like Tovar quietly having a really solid season. He's just playing on the wrong team. McMahon's a good hitter, just on the wrong team. But I mean, they're so banged up right now. Like the everyday lineup for the Rockies right now is just atrociously bad. Maybe some one-offs, but gosh, like Varland hasn't been good. You could chase some home runs here. It's just who do we really chase the home runs with?
Yeah, I like the Tovar and McMahon call. Like those are the only two that are even like big league hitters. You could make an argument for Brenton Doyle. Like he's been okay this season.
Yeah.
Diaz got hurt on Monday night, so who knows if he'll be in the lineup. If it's not him, it'll be Stallings, and I don't ever really play Stallings. I know he's had a good year this year, but I'm not buying it. So I think I'm just using Tovar and McMahon as possible one-offs, but no stacks for me.
Minnesota bats. I'm not a Cal Quantrill guy either. Like I'm with you. It's so hard for me to believe like what he's doing this year because like stacking against him has been so fun for years. The BABIP, like he has a 240 BABIP this year. There's some regression to his numbers. If you look at some of his expected stats, do we play the Minnesota bats here? I mean, they're still not like expensive. Lewis is expensive, but like the rest of the stack is like still, you could stack Minnesota with Lewis and play two really solid pitchers and still feel good about like your either secondary stack or however else you build.
Yeah, I don't mind a Minnesota stack. The one issue I have is Minnesota likes to pinch hit a good amount. Colorado
Yeah.
does have two lefties in the pen. So you worry about guys like Larnach. I think Larnach and Kepler are probably safe. Kirilloff, if he's in there, has major pinch hit risk. I think they've taken Larnach out a couple of times too. So I'd be careful of any lefties that start. But love Royce Lewis. Dude's just incredible. Buxton has not hit righties at all this season. So I prefer Correa over Buxton. Kepler, I think, is safe from the pinch hit most days. He would be my favorite lefty if I was picking one of those out. Castro's a switch hitter, so you can certainly play him. He led off on Monday night. They've been trying to find a leadoff hitter for 2 weeks now. They keep rotating guys through that leadoff spot. So if Castro's in the leadoff spot again, I don't mind him at all at 4,100. Miranda's cheap if he's in there. Won't be one of my like top teams that I target for stacks, but I don't mind him.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, like in a 20-incher max, I'll have exposure because I still believe in the offense of this team. All right, we got Pittsburgh at St. Louis facing off against each other in this one, 7.5 total. The Pirates a 130 favorite. Skeens and Mikolas. Skeens 9,400. We know he's capable. Big strikeout games. The Cardinals have been better. They haven't been atrociously bad. They've just been okay. I mean, okay. I'm going to give credit where credit's due. They've actually been really solid, over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
30 days, they've been top five offense in baseball. So
yeah,
credit where credit's due. They were atrocious to begin the season, but they have really turned it around here. Nolan Gorman went streaking, so we kind of knew there was too much talent in this offense for them to be this bad all season long.
Yeah, I mean, Burleson's been hitting better. Like they've just overall they've been hitting better. Skeens he's an elite strikeout pitcher. He's still very young. I mean, it's really hard not to have interest in him, right?
Yeah, I mean, just you talk about upside from pitchers, and Skeens has it. Like when they were babying him in the minors, you had to see pitch count from him up for a couple of starts before I think you could really feel good about paying up to the 9-10K range for him. He's been above 90 pitches in 4 straight starts. So I don't have concerns about the leash. The strikeout upside is off the charts. I mean, he has legitimately some of the best stuff we have ever seen from a pitching prospect. So I'm all about it. Load him up. I don't care who he's facing. Played him against the Dodgers last start. We'll gladly play him against the hot Cardinals team here.
I mean, you just have to. The guy's strikeout stuff is elite. 35% Ks, backed up by a 28.5% whiff rate and a 15% swinging strike rate, and he's doing it against lefties at a high clip. And he's gonna get a good amount of lefties in this lineup. So he's just been he's living up to the hype, right? Like at the end of the day, he's Spencer Strider 2.0. They just have this stuff. They do. They just have this stuff.
You just watch this guy pitch, and you're like, this dude's legit. He's like 101 with the fastball, and then he throws that splinker thing that's like 95 and moves all over the place. It is just absolutely filthy.
Hey, Miles Mikolas, he's still pitching, and as good as the bats have been, I guess he's been a little bit better. He hasn't been atrocious. He's just been bad. Even against the Pirates, I'm not playing Mikolas today.
Yeah, nor am I.
Let's talk bats. I don't know if Pittsburgh's like this team that you want to full stack, but I mean, St. Louis is starting to get hotter. Like summers in St. Louis, the ball flies out of this ballpark. I think I could be talked in, or even like potentially want to play like a 3-man stack here. I mean, you have options, right? You have Reynolds, you have O'Neill Cruz, Swazinski, Tellis. I think like I could see myself mini stacking Pittsburgh today.
I like that call. Probably not enough upside for a full stack. Mikolas, as bad as he is, still is okay at run prevention. He doesn't have any upside for DFS pitching, but he's okay at run prevention. Pittsburgh's cheap though, so I don't mind the mini stack. Sawinski's really cheap. O'Neal Cruz is cheap for his talent level.
4,300.
Yeah, I love that. Like elite speed, massive power. I will certainly play some O'Neal Cruz in this spot. Another guy, he strikes out too much, so you get a low strikeout pitcher like Mikolas. Sign me up for O'Neal Cruz. Reynolds is cheap enough for his talent level. Nick Rodriguez, if he's in there. Nick Gonzalez, sorry. Not sure if he'll be in there righty, but he's been off to a good start since they called him up too. But yeah, just pick 3 of those guys, use them as a mini stack. I like it.
They're cheap. Reynolds is too cheap too.
Yep.
Even if you don't want a mini stack and throw Pittsburgh in your player pool as one-offs, the prices on Pittsburgh today just absolutely phenomenal. Cardinals bats. Any interesting Cardinals against Skeens?
Nope.
Yeah,
I mean they try to find a homer maybe, but no thanks.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of the Cardinals. Don't get me wrong. Burleson 266 ISO over the last 30 days. Gorman's at 430 ISO. The only reason I remember is because I looked this up. But yeah, just phenomenal, right? They've been hitting. They're still striking out a ton, and they're going to face an elite strikeout pitcher. Just no interest today for me from this team. Yankees, Royals. I almost did it again. I almost did Chiefs. 9 total. The Yankees a 138 favor. We got Stroman and Singer facing off against each other. Any interest here in Marcus Stroman?
No, I do not have any interest in Marcus Stroman. I think he has been unbelievably lucky this season. We started to see the regression monster come his last start against Minnesota. Kind of think that continues. His strikeouts are down under 20%. The walks are way too high. That's always been a strong suit for him in his career is his command. Walks over 10%, not good. He's never been a strikeout pitcher. So his BABIP is way too low. He's just been getting really lucky this season. So Kansas City's a solid offense. I'm not playing any Stroman.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to be talking some bats against him more than playing him here. I'm with you. He's not cheap enough too. And it's just not, I'm not doing it. Brady Singer has been really struggling recently. He's had some tough matchups, but he's been struggling. This is one of the worst teams to play pitchers against. It's just, they don't strike out. They have a ton of power. They can make up the long ball, makes up a lot of ground when they need to. It's just, there's not many pitchers I'm going to play against this team. Before, you could play pitchers against the Yankees because they struck out so much, but the additions of Volpe and Soto and Verdugo, their catchers aren't striking out. It's just made it almost impossible to play pitchers against this team.
Yeah, I mean they've been the best offense in baseball, better than the Dodgers. Let's just call it what it is. Judge and Stanton got the night off on Monday, so they're going to be back in there Tuesday. Soto was banged up a little bit. He played Monday, so I mean, unless they decide to give Soto a random rest day, they should be full strength here. And when this lineup is full strength here, it is extremely scary. No Brady Singer for me.
I like the Yankees today. On the road, guaranteed the top of the ninth. They're definitely in the pool for full stack for me. Pitching being as soft pricing as it is, it's very, very playable. The Yankee stack, that is.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there. It is so hard to pay for 2 6K hitters. So you probably have to choose between Judge and Soto, which is a really tough decision. I mean, lately it's been Judge, but who knows how long he's going to stay.
I don't think you have to, though. Honestly, I really don't think you're going to have to choose today. As cheap as pitching is, I think you could build a lineup a Yankee stack that you like with both of them and pitching that you like. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably fair. And you can find a 2K bat this time of year as well. It's June and September are the 2 times a year where there's constantly prospects getting called up, a lot of roster turns. So we get underpriced hitters like that are too cheap for their talent. Judge is just on one. Play him for sure. Stanton is cheap in this spot, 40. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's just
no, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. I like the Stanton price tag at 4,600. There's too many strikeouts there, but we know he has ridiculous power, Verdugo is cheap enough as well. 4K. Don't mind that. So yeah, I'm on board with the Yankee stack for sure.
And Royals, like Stroman has been really bad against lefties this year. Like the command has been awful. He's giving up a ton of power to lefties this year. So, I mean, I think it's your everyday guys you like here for this team. You know, Melendez, Pasquantino, Bobby Witt, righty is fine. Another team that I have a lot of interest in, like mini stacking today, is Kansas City. I wish they had more lefties healthy. Like, I'd play a ton of Massey in this spot. Like, if he was healthy, Hunter Renfroe probably out for a while. He broke his toe on Monday, so maybe we get a call up here, or Isabel cracks like the lineup in a better lineup spot. But with Renfroe going out, there's going to be a cheap position player here, whether it be Frazier or Isabel. We're going to get a cheap bat here for Kansas City today. Hopefully, maybe they call somebody up, like I said, and we get like a cheap 2K hitter for Kansas City today.
If they call up Nick Prado, who's 2,800, I haven't even looked to see what he's been doing in the minors this season. I remember him from prospect lists last year. He didn't have a great year in his cup of coffee last year, but he's got some big time power. Certainly would not mind that. You'd have to choose between him and Vinny P in that situation. They're both first base only. But if you needed the savings, I wouldn't hate that. But yeah, I'm on board.
Is he even in the like Cross? Isn't like that one of their big? He's not in the player pool though.
No,
that's one of their big prospects. I think he's still in AA though. Like Gavin Cross is one of the big prospects for Kansas City for what it's worth, but I think he's still in AA. I could be wrong though.
Yeah,
he's a lefty power bat too though. He's just a guy that I remember from the beginning of the year. Big power lefty. We should see him next year, but hey, maybe, AA to the majors. Let's go. Just come on.
Maybe. I don't think so, but maybe.
I'm with you on Prado though. Like, I don't even think it'd be like a hard decision for me because, I think you definitely want some exposure against Stroman. All right. Moving on. We got Toronto at Milwaukee. We don't have a pitcher listed yet for Milwaukee, which is always fun the night before. I've looked like a bunch of different places and I haven't been able to find anything. We know Kikuchi's pitching. There's no total because we don't know who's pitching for Milwaukee yet. Any interest here in Kikuchi against Milwaukee?
A little bit. Milwaukee is one of the best offenses in baseball against righties. You were on that ever since the beginning of the season. Awesome call there. They've struggled a little bit against lefties. They're more down. They're like bottom 10, 20th in WRC plus against lefties. Kikuchi's been solid this year. He's fixed his command issues. He'll still give up some home runs, but the strikeouts have been there. I don't love the price tag at 9,100, but I think he's going to be a lot lower owned than Wheeler and Skeens. So if you're looking for a pivot, I don't hate it. I won't do it very often, but he's in play.
So I'm seeing a report here that Carlos Rodriguez is going to get called up and pitch this game. I don't know if he's in the player pool yet. I'm trying to figure it out really quick. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see him in the player pool. Oh, they have him listed as an outfielder. Is that the same guy? That's weird.
There's only like 50 Carlos Rodriguez on Fangraphs, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I mean, he has a really good slider changeup combo. I was reading about him just now, from what I'm seeing. But yeah, I mean, we'll see if he's going to pitch here or not. But DraftKings has Carlos Rodriguez for Milwaukee listed as an outfielder. So we'll have to see, because they wouldn't score him, right? If he's an outfielder.
I don't think
Pretty
so.
Sure.
There's probably two different guys.
Yeah, I mean, kind of looking through his stuff here, like high ERA. I'm not looking at his advanced stats. I'm just kind of looking. 62 innings, 36 earned runs, 8 home runs, 66 strikeouts, so K per 9, high whip for even minors. So I know he's a top 10 prospect in the Brewers organization, just from looking at the list right here. But yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see if that's who they call up. But I mean, I don't know if we'd want to play him anyway against a low strikeout Toronto team.
I don't. Colin Ray just dominated him. Toronto, man, it's tough seeing
Gutless, baby, gutless.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Anyway, man. Okay, so we'll have to see how this situation plays out. Let's hold our thoughts on Toronto bats and the pitching situation here. Do you have any interest in the Milwaukee bats against Kikuchi?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do. I mentioned they have not been as good against lefties as they have been against righties, but there's still plenty of guys who have historical success against lefties. William Contreras is certainly one of those guys. Have to spend up for him, but don't hate it. Adames is cheap, 4,400. Hoskins is cheap, 4,200. Really like both of those guys. Fine with Yelich, lefty. Chasing home runs, so probably just 2 or 3 more than a full 5-man stack for me. But I definitely have interest in Milwaukee. Gary Sanchez, too. Forgot about him.
Gary Sanchez. Yeah, I like that call.
He's been mashing lefties, man.
I think like this is another one of those scenarios where you could play some Kikuchi, but you definitely want to play some Milwaukee bats too. They could get to him. All right, we got LA Angels, Arizona Diamondbacks facing off against each other in Arizona, 9 total, and the Diamondbacks a 180 favorite. Suarez and Montgomery. Any interest in Jose Suarez here? Don't even know what to expect pitch count wise in this one.
Heck no. Arizona, another one of those teams that have been not great against righties, but they are top 5 against lefties. I believe they're 4th in WRC plus against lefties.
Yeah, they're really good. Really good against lefties. And like Suarez has been awful. He's been pitching out of the bullpen because he was so awful as a starter. Like, I don't expect him to go deep in this game. Jordan Montgomery on the other side, another guy that's like, he's not been pitching good. He's been getting hit very hard. The Angels are a good team against left-handed pitching. They're sneaky good against lefties. I think you're staying away from Jordan Montgomery today as well.
I completely agree with you. The recent form has been awful. I thought he was a great late in the offseason signing by the Diamondbacks, but he just hasn't been right. Hasn't been able to get his season on track. We see that happen sometimes when guys don't get a full spring training. So this is my favorite game for bats on the slate.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the Hard Rock. I think I'm going to bet the over of 9 on this game.
Shh, I've got that written down.
Oh, do you? Well, it's 9.5 at the Hard Rock at plus money, so I'm still gonna take it. So
hammer it. I love it.
I'm in. Hey, you can still make it your bet for the game. Who cares? I made it an unofficial bet live because I like the bats in this game. I think this is a good game to target bats. Let's start with the Angels ballpark upgrade. I mean, as bad as it sounds, Kevin Pillar has been fantastic against lefties this year. So. What's his name? Stefanik, right? He's 2K second baseman. I mean, there you go. Like, he should probably hits leadoff here in this spot. So, I mean, yeah, very interested in him. Pilar, Ohape, Ward. I'm interested in the Angels. I think they're going to score some runs today.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. They've been just incredible against. They've been just like Arizona, very bad, bottom 10. It might even be bottom 5 against righties. I believe they're 7th in WRC plus against lefties. So very good against lefties. Ward, Rengifo, Pilar, all at the top have been excellent. Ohapi's cheap. Adele is cheap. Neto's been really good. Yeah, Neto's been good against lefties. Like, this team they crush lefties. So I'm absolutely in. Montgomery's not in good form. Even if he was, I think I might have some interest in Angels here.
I'm with you. They're a top stack for me today, and the Arizona Diamondbacks are a top stack for me today. Like you said, a team that has really struggled with right-handed pitching. They've crushed lefties. Marte has been one of the best hitters against left-handed pitching in the whole entire majors this year. It's incredible because, like, he's not really known for power, but he has a 392 ISO, over 100 plate appearances against lefties this year. Walker, Gurriel, obviously those two guys up towards the top of the list. But yeah, absolutely love the Angels today, or the Arizona Diamondbacks. But I love both of them. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with you. Christian Walker, Kettle Marte, 2 of my favorite hitters on the entire slate. Blaze Alexander usually gets a start against a lefty. He's only 3,500 second base and shortstop eligibility. Grichuk will sometimes platoon against lefties. He's 3,100. So you get the two studs up there in the 5K range, and you can sprinkle it in with some value around that. I absolutely love the Diamondbacks in this spot. Gabriel Moreno at catcher as well. I'll play pretty much anybody in the lineup. I don't love the idea of Carroll lefty. I doubt Peterson starts here. If somebody like McCarthy or a cheaper lefty is in there, I wouldn't hate it. But you don't really even need to do that. Like, there's plenty of cheap righties too.
Yeah, either catcher in this game, like Ohapi or Marino, I think are both fantastic today. So good, really good spot. Really good spot you want to attack. White Sox Mariners is where we go next. 7 total in this game, really low total. Mariners a 235 favorite. Thorpe against Wu. Let's go Mr. Drew Thorpe first. Debut, right? Pretty sure?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. MLB debut. Big time prospect.
Big prospect. Well, he was part of the trade with the Padres, right?
Yeah. He was part of the Soto trade from the Yankees to the Padres, and then the Padres flipped him for Dylan Cease, I believe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was part of the Padres Cease trade.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, big prospect. Like, this is a guy that has some stuff, right? Like, this is a guy that, well, he has an elite changeup from what I remember. Like, it's like good fastball, really good control, like 91 to 95 mile an hour fastball, but like elite changeup. I mean, it's hard not to have interest in him today. I know it's his debut and he's making the jump from AA straight to the majors, but with the strikeouts that are up there for this team, for like Seattle, like, I mean, this is a guy that can change the pace against them. I think Thorpe's a fantastic tournament play today.
Yeah, I'm with you. Seattle can get really left-handed too, and like changeups are very effective from a right-hander to a left-hander. So yeah. I do like this spot. I'm glad that he's not like, if he was 4K, he'd be mega chalk. Yeah. Even if he was like 6K, I think he would be pretty chalky in the spot. Like, just play pitchers against Seattle. Everybody knows that by now. They strike out at a higher rate than anyone in baseball. So I'm glad he's priced up to 7,700. It makes you at least think about it. But I'm with you. Strikeouts have not been as good as I expected them to be. When I saw his name on the slate, I looked up quickly and I think it's in AA too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was AA.
It up again. Yeah, he has not made a AAA start. So very raw guy. Advanced pitch mix though, like the changeup, like you said, is very advanced. It's probably among the best changeups in minor league baseball. So I think you take some shots here, even though he's priced up and hasn't not started about AA. I love the matchup against Seattle. I think they throw a few lefties at him. I think the strikeout upside is there today.
Yeah, I mean, the White Sox are so awful. Like, they're so bad. I think they have like 16 or 17 wins or something. They're one of the worst teams in baseball. I think they have the worst record in baseball. There's no reason not to call this guy up. Like, let him, like, this is one of your like huge prospects. This is one of the guys you moved Dylan Cease for. Like, why not? Like, see what you have. I mean, what's the other guy's name? There's another guy. Is it Schultz or something? They have another pitcher. The really tall guy. I think it's Schultz, but they have another guy that I think we're gonna see very soon too. He's like height wise, like Randy Johnson height. Like, I'm pretty sure he's like 6'8", 6'9". He just got drafted. But yeah, he's another guy. Like, he has an elite fastball slider combination. So yeah. Anyway, I think we see him soon too. I'm pretty sure his name is Schultz. But yeah, very interested in Thorpe today. But I'm also very interested in Wu. I mean, just a spot where very minimal risk, like power wise, and the only thing that you're always worried about with like Brian Wu is like, you know, right now I could tell you that he's not pitching past 6 innings because he's on an innings limit because of the elbow. Like, can we be underweight on him today? I think the answer is yes. I think there's enough options on this slate that, like, if you're concerned about him only throwing, like, Keith, what if he goes out and he's at like 60 pitches here in the 6th because he's generating ground balls and like not getting blown up by the White Sox? Like, they've already said they're not letting this guy go deep into games. Like, it would be the most tilting thing to have like 16 fantasy points with like 3 hits allowed at 60 pitches in the 6th and get yanked.
We saw that from Jared Jones earlier this year. He's fallen off a little bit, but he was striking everybody out through like 5 innings, and he was at like 58 pitches, and the Pirates pulled him. And yeah, that was tilting. It would not surprise me if the Mariners did that to Wu. I have no idea why an innings limit exists. Like, it is more about pitches than it is about innings.
Elbow, yeah. Well, I don't.
No, I know.
We haven't. I think he's on a pitch limit too, because I don't think he's thrown he hasn't thrown over 90, right? So I think it's a 60 or 90 pitch like elbow thing for Wu. I don't think we see him until the playoffs potentially go 90 plus pitches or six or more innings.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And I think you're absolutely right, because they pulled him at 70 pitches after 6 innings and at 66 pitches after 6 innings. And it's not like those were his first 2 starts back. He had made 3 or 4 starts leading up to those 2. So you're definitely concerned about the innings limit, I'll call it, in addition to a pitch count. But you still have to like the potential upside here. This White Sox team,
fantastic, yeah.
They're starting to strike out a lot more as well. DeYoung has always been a huge K guy. They're starting Corey Lee at catcher quite a bit. He's been a massive K guy, even in the minors as well. So that's like 2 high K bats. It's like extremely high. DeLoach has been in there recently, another high strikeout guy. There's more strikeouts in this lineup since a couple of injuries, like Jimenez got hurt. Tommy Pham, like some of the lower strikeout bats are hurt and on the IL. So there's more strikeouts for this White Sox teams than there was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, Sosa's a strikeout guy. DeYoung, like you mentioned. I mean, even Luis Robert, he's a huge strikeout guy. Like, he's one of the best hitters in the lineup, but he strikes out enough. So, I mean, yeah, I think like if Wu was throwing 100 pitches in this game, he'd be the top pitcher on the slate for me. But the fact that like the reality is that he could throw like 70 pitches here, pitch really well, and get yanked. I mean, he was setting himself up for like a complete game shutout against the Angels, and they yanked him because they're just not going to let him go deep into the game. So, and like, you have to respect it. It's very common knowledge. We know that like it's been reported. The coaches talked about it. They're not going to do it. The Mariners are in a great spot. I think they're like 5 or 6 games up on the Rangers in the West. So like, there's no need. They have the best pitching rotation in baseball. If they could keep these guys healthy, who do you like? If the bats get going, or if they make some trade deadline moves, like, you don't want to face this pitching rotation in the postseason. Like, there's no weak spot. So
yeah, definitely. Even if Julio Rodriguez would just wake up, man, like this Mariners team could be scary.
Yeah, I think they make some moves. I really think like Seattle's in a position where they make some moves here at trade deadline. Bats in this game, any interest in the White Sox?
No, I mean, there isn't any talent in this lineup. Wu is a very good pitcher. No White Sox for me.
Yeah, I'll say like if you want to play like Gavin Sheets, like a lefty, Wu definitely gives up a lot more contact to lefties. And like, he's not going to continue to have a 165 BABIP all year. So like, he really struggled against lefties last year. So like, if you want to take some shots on Gavin Sheets, that's my boy. Seattle bats, it'd be a stack or fade situation for me on Seattle, facing a pitcher that's never pitched above the AA level, and just saying, hey, maybe this prospect gets absolutely shelled in this spot. But yeah, I mean, it's not one-offs for me. It's just a full stack. That's how I would play Seattle.
Yep, I think you're banking that Thorpe can't handle the pressure, or he's just not quite ready. The stuff doesn't play as well, and you stack him up and hope that he just blows up in the first inning.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what you're hoping for here. All right, moving on. We got Oakland at San Diego. JP Sears against Mr. Vasquez, 7.5 total in this game. The Padres a slight favorite. Any interest here in JP Sears?
This San Diego team is rolling, man. I know they've been accused of being gutless in the past, but if you look at their season-long numbers, they're a top 10 offense across the board.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. I don't think I have. I know for a fact, like, even if the power isn't there where we want it to be, they don't strike out. So I'm having a hard time finding upside for JP Sears in this spot. I'll be fading him.
Yeah, no interest for me. They just don't strike out. Like, they might be gutless, but they put the ball in play enough where it's really hard to have upside against them. Vasquez on the other side here, 5.6K, really cheap, facing Oakland. Any interest here in Vasquez?
92 pitches last time out, was over 100 against Atlanta 3 starts ago. This is a fully stretched out starting pitcher at 5,600 facing Oakland. I don't know if we need it on this slate. I think there's a lot of pitchers that have a bunch of upside. And I think there's going to be cheap hitters that we can use in our lineups too. I like the spot for Vasquez, obviously, against Oakland. I think he's too cheap for the matchup. I'm worried about the upside. Not a huge strikeout guy. Oakland obviously helps that a little bit. But can he really get more than like 5 or 6 strikeouts? I don't know. I don't think I'll need it on this slate. I'll just say that. I like the matchup and I like the price, but I'm not sure we need it.
Yeah, I think you just summed it up perfectly, right? Like at the end of the day, this isn't the right slate for him. I mean, I think as simple as that sounds, I think that's the right verbiage on Randy Vasquez today. I just don't think this is the right slate for him. Oakland bats. Any interest in the Oakland bats here?
Vasquez is not immune to a blow up situation. Oakland's got some power, so I don't know if it's a full stack for me. I don't mind chasing the power bats here. Rooker's been just absolutely incredible this season. Langoliers has been solid. Who's the cheap first baseman? Soderstrom is 2,200. He homered on Monday night. So finding a cheap home run or two, I don't hate that idea. Vasquez has really struggled with lefties for what it's worth. So Blade, if he's in the lineup, any lefty that's in there, I'm interested.
Yeah, Blade, Roker, Langoliers, all these guys. Vasquez is a low strikeout pitcher. Could he win in this spot? Sure. I mean, he doesn't give up a ton of fly balls, but man, I feel like Oakland can hit him a little bit in this spot. So I don't know, like you said, I don't know if it's a full stack situation, but potentially mini stack, potentially chasing some power. San Diego, I mean, this is definitely a team where they're going to make a lot of contact in this spot. And JP Sears is somebody when you're making contact, good things can happen. He hasn't been giving up a ton of home runs lately, but he's a guy that notoriously gives up home runs. So maybe we see some home run to fly ball ratio regression here, and we see San Diego put it on him a little bit in the spot.
Yeah, I like the San Diego bats quite a bit. Tatis is red hot, homered again on Monday. Machado is back now. He's only 4,700. It's been a struggle with injuries for him all season. Seems like right when he was starting to get back on track, he went down with another injury. Jurickson Profar has been one of the best hitters in baseball. That is just so crazy to say, but it's the truth. I don't know if he'll continue that level, but I'm willing to play him against JP Sears. That's for sure. I always will play Kim against lefties. He traditionally smashed lefties. Solano has been a nice little addition here. I like the Padres a ton.
Yeah, I mean, Tatis, someone in chat, I think it was Derek, said Tatis hit one off the top of the wall. He's just running good right now. Running good right now. Houston at San Francisco. We're rolling, Keith. We're rolling. We got Blanco. We got Hicks. We got a 7.5 total in a pick'em game. Any interest here in Blanco at 9,700 on DraftKings? Why is he so expensive?
Yeah, why is he so expensive? I can't do it. It's a nice ballpark upgrade, but San Francisco is not terrible offensively. They don't strike out a ton. He's just overpriced.
Why? He's more expensive than Skeens.
Yeah, I'm getting Skeens all day long. I'd play Kikuchi over him. Man, he's not worth the price.
Yeah, I don't have FanDuel up in front of me, but Blanco's had a couple good games this year, no doubt. But yeah, I mean, this is a guy that really struggled last year. He's been awful recently against righties, where he was dominating righties at the start of the season. If you look at his last 30-day splits, his walk rate is almost as high as his strikeout rate against righties. So yeah, I don't get this one. I really don't. I remember playing, some bats against him last time out with St. Louis. Jordan Hicks, expensive too. Tough matchup against Houston. I know, I mean, they're dealing with a few injuries, but still, this is not a team I typically want to play right-handed pitching against.
Yeah, watered down lineup probably with Tucker on the IL. Diaz missed Monday. Not sure exactly what's going on with him.
Well, that's true, yeah.
But yeah, another guy that sat. Bregman was banged up coming into Monday. I didn't see exactly what he's done here on Monday night yet, but a little bit of a watered down lineup. Still not playing Jordan Hicks.
Yeah, I mean, if the lineup, like, okay, we say this all the time. If a lineup comes out and it's super watered down, sure. Like, you know, if the lineup comes in and like, there's always bumps to pitchers depending on bad lineups. I mean, we've seen it multiple times, like always. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I don't necessarily have a lot of interest in Hicks, but yeah, I mean, with Tucker on the IL, if Diaz is out again, and you get a watered down, like bottom half of this lineup is like righty Dubon and Abreu in there, and like Chas McCormick. Sure, I mean, maybe then you roll out Jordan Hicks. Any interest in the Houston bats in this one?
Yeah, I mean they've been an outstanding offense this season. Jordan's picking it up here recently. He's still too cheap for as good of a hitter as he is. Hicks is a big time ground ball guy, so you definitely want some fly ball guys. That's definitely Jordan. Myers has been shockingly good. I don't like it's tough because of the lineup being watered down. Like Bregman has been okay, not great this year. Altuve, I would like to see a few more fly balls from him. If Singleton's in there, I don't mind that at all. I don't know. It's lukewarm because of the watered down lineup, but I still have some faith. Like Hicks has been good at run prevention. The strikeouts haven't been there, but I still have some interest here in Houston.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see what the lineup looks like as far as like full stack, but Bregman, Altuve, Alvarez, sure, like no doubt. Interested in those three, and then it just kind of depends on what the rest of the lineup looks like. Any interest in San Francisco in this one?
Always a tough team to play. They're another team that changes up their lineup. They haven't been as bad with the pinch hit stuff this year, but I don't know. Like Soler has struggled so much. Chapman has been banged up as well. Like they've just been so injured this season that I don't know what to do with them. I have interest in picking on Blanco a little bit. Like you mentioned, his form hasn't been great of late. It's not a great ballpark for hitting. But I wouldn't mind a mini stack here of San Francisco. Just have to see what the lineup looks like.
Yeah, I mean, playing like Brett Wisely maybe at second base, I think there's too much ceiling at shortstop to punt at shortstop. Like shortstop is just loaded. Like I don't know if I'd get to anybody under like O'Neal Cruz at shortstop because it's just such a loaded position today and every day it feels like. But I mean, Wisely should hit leadoff. That's fine. If Bailey's in there at catcher, they hit him third on Monday night. If he's in there at 3,400, getting a catcher hitting third at 3,400 is fantastic. Conforto's having a good year when he's been on the field. And I mean, you know what you're getting from Soler. You're getting the 2 home run upside on any slate. I like Ramos more against lefties, but he's been hitting the ball really well. He's under 4K. I don't mind maybe having some one-offs of like leaving some one-offs and like seeing if lineup HQ like generates them into any of my builds here. I'll leave some guys in there like max like 15% ownership, and if any of them get built in there, it's fine. If not, it is what it is. Texas at LA, we finish it out with the Dodgers, Rangers, no total in this game. Dunning and Paxton facing off against each other. Any interest in Dane Dunning in this one?
I've been waiting for the right opportunity to play Dane Dunning. I'm interested in his strikeouts. They've kind of spiked this year, but against the Dodgers is not the right spot. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, the time the plan was against Arizona, man. They have been bad against righties this year. It's so weird because they were like one of the best teams in baseball against righties last year. Yeah. Paxton, I wouldn't play Paxton on a 3-game slate.
Nor would I. He's been awful this season.
Yeah, I mean, they really quickly. It's just pretty much a bullpen game. I mean, this is a guy that's not pitching deep right now. What are our thoughts with the Texas bats?
Yeah, I mean, like Paxton's numbers don't look that bad on the surface, but if you dig in, like
Bad.
it's ugly underneath the hood for Paxton. So Texas is another team that's oddly struggled against lefties this season. You look at this lineup and it's like, man, they should smash lefties. Simeon, Adolis Garcia, even Seager has been awesome in his career lefty. I don't know. Like Langford's been disappointing, obviously. I still have interest here in stacking against Paxton. I don't think he has any idea where the ball is going at this point. The strikeouts have been non-existent. I absolutely love Adolis Garcia and Marcus Simeon. Figure it out from there.
Yeah, Garcia, Simeon, Langford. I'm still holding out hope. I really do think Wyatt Langford is a really good hitter, and it's just gonna it's not getting any AAA at bats and just getting straight to the majors. Like he's super talented. He has power. He has speed. We're eventually gonna see it. Listen, the dude's talented. I watched him play a lot in college. He's very, very talented. Like it's gonna happen. This isn't one of those like fluke situations. Wyatt Langford's a really good hitter, and he's gonna start going. And what he's hitting like 4 of the last 5 games, multiple hits in 3 of his last 6 or 7. So any stolen base upside, like Wyatt Langford, very much in play for me today. Duran is someone I like against left-handed pitching. I know his numbers are down a little bit this year, but overall, he's typically really good against lefties. So, yeah, I mean, you worry a little bit like pinch hit risk on some of these guys, but yeah, I mean, I love Garcia today. I think this is a stellar spot for him. Dodgers, they're going to be low owned. The Dodgers are always low owned. Late slate Dodgers, like Dunning's a good pitcher. Not typically a guy that I would stack against, but he's not typically facing the Dodgers. He's really struggled with left-handed power this year, and they have a lot of it. I mean, Ohtani, Freeman, top of the list. Obviously, they're expensive. And then, obviously, like Mookie Betts. I don't know if you'll be able to play more than 2 of Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, and Smith. So I think you're going to have to prioritize who you want to play. But if Ohtani he's one of the top hitters on every slate. Love the Dodgers today. I think they're going to be under-owned.
Yeah, this is an awesome spot for Ohtani and Freeman. Even Jason Hayward, I would play in this spot. Don't know if I can do Gavin Lux. Something's not right.
I don't
with
think
Gavin
anybody
Lux.
can do it.
But yeah, it's tough. They're all over 5K, or the guys you want to play are all over 5K anyway. Hayward, I think, would be the exception there. Yeah, I mean, I don't have that much else to add. If you can afford them, play them, and I think you're going to be able to find ways to afford them. Like you said, maybe you have to make some sacrifices between you choose one of Will Smith and Teoscar Hernandez, but there's ways to make it work.
Man, I built a stellar Angels Diamondbacks game stack as we were doing the podcast today. That I'm gonna play it. I'm not gonna touch it. If everybody's in the lineup, I'm just gonna play it. And if I take down a tournament with this lineup, you'll know that, because I won't be on the podcast tomorrow night, so you'll know that it happened right now, and I didn't change anything. So there you go. All right, let's play the morning grind game, and then we'll get out of here. Under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. Who do you got?
I'm gonna roll with the rookie here, making his debut.
Drew Thorpe. I knew you would
too. Yeah, I mean the changeup looks good. Seattle, they strike out at the highest rate in baseball, so I'm buying it.
Yeah, I think it's I think he's very capable of having a really solid game. But you have to be concerned about a guy going from AA to the majors. It's just, I don't even have the right reference point to tell you. It's like going from high school to college ball. The level of intensity from AA to the majors, and the talent level is just massive. So could he struggle? The answer is yes. But yeah, I'm with you on Thorpe. I'll go McGill. Getting a good matchup here against Miami. There's a lot of strikeouts in the bottom half of that lineup, and he's a solid strikeout pitcher in the right matchup. So give me McGill. Over 8K to score under 15. Who's your bust today?
Brady Singer gets this
Yep.
Really rough New York lineup. Really tough spot for Brady Singer.
I'm so curious now. Like Derek in chats, like I always enter my morning grind baseball lineup. I do that almost every day too. I've taken down tournaments with it before. Let me know in the comments on the YouTube because we're about to end, so chat's going to close. But let me know in the comments on the YouTube video if you've taken down a tournament with a morning grind lineup before. I'm curious, and I think it's fun. I love the Singer call. I mean, I think there's 3 clear options today, right? Singer, Stroman, and Blanco. Those are like easy X out cross offs like immediately for me on this slate. All 3 of those guys. So I'm gonna fade all 3 of those guys. Over 4K to hit a home run. Who's going yard today?
Give me Fernando Tatis, red hot, gets the fly ball lefty. JP Sears, like you said, due for a little bit of home run regression. Tatis has actually had a little bit more power against righties in his career, but I love this spot for the Padres.
I really thought you were going to take my home run today. You didn't, so I'm happy. Give me Christian Walker to go yard today.
He was on the list for sure.
Yeah. Love the Diamondbacks. Love Christian Walker. Under 4K to get 2 hits. Who's a cheap bet that you like today?
I like Blaze Alexander of the Diamondbacks. Just match up against Suarez. Great spot for him.
I'm going to go to my boy, Joe Adele. You mentioned him when we were breaking down the game. This dude has really struggled against righties this year, but he is absolutely scorching lefties. He's been one of the best hitters in baseball against left-handed pitching this season. Absolutely love this spot for him. He has a 500 ISO. 500 ISO against lefties this year. Just it's wild. His barrel rate's like 23 or 24%. Just massive home run guy against lefties. Love Joe Adele today. I don't even care if he doesn't get 2 home runs. Just hit or 2 hits. Just hit a home run. Stack to score 6 or more runs. Who do you got today?
It's going to be the Diamondbacks for me. Jose Suarez is not good. Diamondbacks have been much better against left-handed pitching.
Yeah, I love that call. I'm going to go Reds. I don't want to forget about the Reds. I know McKenzie is very capable of pitching well, but the Reds, they just offer so much ceiling with their speed and power in this ballpark. McKenzie's a fly ball guy. It's a great scenario if McKenzie's not pitching well. So give me the Reds today. Any player props or pick'em plays that you like on this slate?
Just noticed Jesus Luzardo at 4.5 strikeouts. Man, it's dicey because of him getting blown up in his last start. If I knew he was right, that would be an easy over, even in a tough strikeout matchup against the Mets. I still like that. I think I'm gonna lock that one in. Give me Luzardo over 4.5.
Yeah, I get that. I'm gonna go to Brady Singer under 4.5 strikeouts here. I mean, just a guy that has been struggling with strikeouts anyway and gets a really terrible strikeout matchup. So give me Brady Singer under 4.5 strikeouts today. Any lines jumping off the board to you here today, just in general?
Yeah, that Angels Diamondbacks total of 9. Yeah. I love the over on that. That's going to be 9.5 by the time first pitch rolls around. I'm just refreshed on DK to make sure it was still out there. Go grab that 9 before it moves to 9.5.
Yeah, I took the 9 because I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, I basically saw the line. I took over 9.5 actually on the Hard Rock app at plus money. So I think that I'm right there with you. I think that that's a game that we want to take advantage of. I like the Reds and Guardians over 9 as well. You can get it at FanDuel at pick'em price, so minus 110. So I like the over in that game. Keith, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, big slate, fun slate, all kinds of options. Happy to carry the rest of the week home for you. So appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'm gonna go coach some volleyball and
good luck.
Have some fun at nationals and yeah. I mean, listen, it's gonna be fun. Like I think our team can compete with any team, and we have a really good group of girls. We won a couple tournaments this year, and it's gonna be fun. So excited. Appreciate everyone. Appreciate you filling in for me for the rest of the week. And Keith's back tomorrow. I'm back on Tuesday, and I hope everyone has a fantastic Tuesday. And we'll see you again tomorrow.